All right, so welcome to part 2 of the Unit 2A practice test. We're going to start with number 10. So number 10 asks us to graph the following functions by creating a table of input and output values. So they're going to give us a function, and they gave us f of x equals negative 2x plus 1. And then you get to pick whatever values you want for the function. Now, personally, I always go with negative 2 to positive 2. You want 0 in there. It makes it easy. Okay, I always pick from negative 2 to positive 2 because what that does is it lets me see the middle of the graph. And on a lot of these, that helps you see what kind of shape the graph should have. Although, since we've already learned like what the different math things do to your graph, you should know that that's going to be a linear function. But it does, I pick these values, but you can pick whatever values you want. Okay, so we're going to plug into the function. So we're going to do negative 2. We're going to plug this negative 2 in for x plus 1. So negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. So what that tells me is at negative 2, 5, I have a coordinate. Okay, and we're going to do the same for all of these x's. So negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. No, I'm sorry. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2 plus 1 is 3. Sorry. All right. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, plus 1 is negative 1. And then negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. And then you can see it is going to be a straight line. It is going to have a slope of negative 2. Use my ID as a straight edge. And there we go. And there is f of x. Okay, so we're going to turn over to the next page. And we're going to do the same thing, just for different functions. Ooh, excuse me. All right, so we're going to plug negative 2 in for x. If you're using a calculator especially, make sure that you are using parentheses correctly and that you're squaring negative 2. If you don't put the parentheses in, what the calculator is going to do is square 2 and then make it negative, instead of doing negative 2 and then squaring it. So yeah, just be careful, make sure you use parentheses. So negative 2 squared is positive 4. Positive 4 minus 4 is 0. Okay, negative 1 squared is positive 1. Minus 4 is going to be negative 3. Okay, 0 squared is 0. Minus 4 is negative 4. 1 squared is 1, minus 4 is negative 3, and 2 squared is 4, minus 4 is 0. So if you notice, the numbers end up repeating themselves, and it's got a square, so it's going to be U-shaped, which makes sense why those y values repeat themselves. So we have a point at negative 2, 0, at negative 1, negative 3, at 0, negative 4, at 1, 3, and at 2, 0. And yeah, it should have that U shape. And obviously it's going to keep going, but I don't want to have to worry about getting all those points. Alright, so moving on to C, which is h of x equals the absolute value of 2x. Okay. Okay, so 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. The absolute value of that is positive 4. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. The absolute value of that is positive 2. 2 times 0 is 0. The absolute value of that is 0. 2 times 1 is 2. The absolute value of that is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. The absolute value of which is 4. All right, so again, absolute value has that V shape. It should be linear, but once it hits 0, it should come back up. And so we have a point at negative 2, 4, at negative 1, 2, at 0, 0, at 1, 2, and at 2, 4. And again, this is linear. It should have a slope. And my slope should be 2, but it's going to have a slope of negative 2 on the other side as well. So it should go all the way up. All right, and it has that V shape. All right, moving on to number 11. It's another graphing the function. So it's graph the function of x squared plus 5. Okay? So negative 2 squared plus 5. So negative 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. Negative 1 squared is 1. Plus 5 is 6. 0 squared is 0. Plus 5 is 5. 1 squared is 1. Plus 5 is 6. And 2 squared is 4. Plus 5 is 9. So at negative 2, we have a point at 9. At negative 1, 6. 0, 5. 1, 6. And 2, 9. And again, it has that U shape. All right. So again, you're just taking your x, plugging it in, simplifying, getting your y value, and graphing. All right. Okay. Excuse me. All right, number 12. We're going to identify the result if f of x is translated down 3 units to create g of x. Graph f of x and g of x. So if we want to translate down 3 units, to translate down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 3 from my functions. So f of x is x plus 6. G of x, if I subtract 3, well, 6 minus 3 is 3, so g of x is going to be x plus 3. Okay, I'm going to subtract 3. 1 minus 3 is negative 2, so this becomes x squared minus 2. Okay, so we're going to graph our two functions, x plus 6. So you can make a table, or if you remember anything about slope-intercept form, f of x, we're going to start at our y-intercept, 6, and then my slope is up 1 and over 1. There's nothing in front of that x, so up 1 and over 1. Okay, and we're going to go backwards the same way, down and left. And then we'll use our straight edge to graph it. And we're going to label this as f of x. Okay, g of x. Same thing, but this is translated down 3 units. Every point is 3 units below the original. So it doesn't change the slope. It's still up 1 and right 1. The only thing that changed was the y-intercept. So instead of starting at 6, we started down 3 units at positive 3. Okay, and then I'm going to use my straight edge to connect. And we're going to label this one g of x. Okay, and it has been translated down 3 units. All right, f of x. So x squared plus 1. So if I do 0 squared, that is 0. Plus 1 is 1. 1 squared is 1. Plus 1 is 2. And we'll do the same for negative 1. 2 squared is 4. Plus 1 is 5. 3 squared is 9. Plus 1 is 10. Okay, so here is f of x, which is x squared plus 1. And again, you can make a table. I kind of did that in my head. That probably wasn't fair. But we just graphed x squared minus 4, x squared plus 5. Should follow the same pattern. All right, x squared minus 2. So we're going to start at negative 2 now. Everything is translated down 3 units. So the easy thing to do is just go from each point and count down 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then connect. And label it as g of x. All right. So I think I'm going to stop part 2 here. It's all graphing. We'll pick up with 13, 14, and 15 on our part 3 video. So thank you so much for paying attention. Hope you guys are studying hard.